So, are you tired of setting really ambitious goals at the beginning of the year only to have fallen off track by mid year? This podcast is going to teach you how to crush your goals using quarterly planning. By the end of this week's podcast, you're going to know how to review your previous quarter and how to set effective goals for next quarter that will bring you closer to those larger than life goals. Quarterly planning has been a secret weapon for me to manifest my goals by staying on track with aligned actions. So whether it's been with manifesting my kids to manifesting my business, I've always used quarterly planning to stay on track. It is my hope that sharing my quarterly planning strategy is going to help you have the same success in achieving everything you set out for, because you certainly deserve it. So do you ever feel like you're working hard, you're doing what you're supposed to, but you look up and your goals still feel like distant dreams? You know you have been hustling, but you aren't any closer to your goals. This might be because you aren't quarterly planning. Our yearly goals and larger than life goals are great, but in order to stay on track in our journey to achieve them, it's important to have smaller goalposts that get you there. Jim Rohn said, "Never begin the day until it is finished on paper." And I would even go as far to say that this applies to quarters as well. A Harvard business study revealed that those that have goals are 10 times more successful than those without goals. The 3% of those with written goals are actually 3 times more successful than those with unwritten goals. So if you're just writing out your yearly goals, imagine how much more effective that could be if you also wrote out your quarterly goals. This is what's going to help you stay on track with your larger goals. So let's talk about how you can set yourself up for success with a bird's eye planning quarterly system. First, I want to talk to you about how quarterly goals are actually going to help you manifest your dreams. They keep you accountable for aligned actions towards your larger goals you're trying to manifest. It's actually a helpful way for you to track your progress towards your goals. So according to participation.com, tracking helps us reach our goals due to what's called the mere measure effect. It's because it establishes a baseline, which is the first step in measuring progress. It also reminds you of your progress. It helps you to identify problems along the ways of anything that's getting in the way. And tracking also helps you focus your attention. So that's one amazing way that quarterly goals kind of help you track along the way to your yearly goals and help you manifest. Quarterly goals are also just enough time. They're not too long that you lose focus, and they're not too short that you don't have the time to make progress, which is really important. They're also motivating wins to help propel you throughout the year. So if you're doing quarterly goals and when you do sit down to do your quarter review and you see that you really smashed it last quarter and you reached all those quarterly goals you met, that's going to motivate you in that next quarter to keep going and keep moving forward. They also give you the flexibility to check in with your yearly goals to see if they still serve you. So quarterly goals are a way for you to be flexible as well. They're a way for you to adjust along the way to see how things are going and to determine if you still really want those yearly goals or if there's something about the way that you're going about those yearly goals that you would like to change. So Claire Cook said, "If plan A doesn't work, the alphabet has 25 more letters, 204 if you're in Japan." And I think that's a great quote because it's just a reminder that plan A can be changed and there's so many different ways to going about what you want, and having that flexibility is going to also give you that inspiration and motivation to keep going towards manifesting those dreams. I also want to talk to you about how to set effective quarterly goals. So my first tip is to use paper and pen, use a paper planner to set these quarterly goals. If you are interested in the modAmbition planner that is coming out and launching soon, there's going to be a complete system for quarterly planning in this planner. So be sure you sign up for the waitlist for that, which I'll link below. But using a paper planner is going to help you be more effective because it's going to help you process more easily as you're writing things down. You also want to look at the larger vision in order to set effective goals. You want to think about what is it that you're trying to achieve as far as your yearly goals or even your 5-10 year goals, and think of your quarterly goals as postmarks along the way. If you've ever heard that story about a man lost in the desert and he was trying to get to the oasis and get out of the desert, but he couldn't see the end mark, but he could just see that next post, and he just focused on getting to that next post, and he knew he would eventually lead to where he wanted to be. Quarterly goals are just like that. So make sure that you're looking at that larger vision, but using your quarterly goals as postmarks to get there. You also want to make your quarterly goals what I call SMART goals, or what the psychology industry calls SMART goals, in order to make sure that they're effective. And that just stands for specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. So for example, if you had a yearly goal to increase your business income by 50%, a SMART quarterly goal could be launch a new product answering your customers' pain points by the end of the quarter. Another example, if you had a goal to lose 50 pounds, a SMART quarterly goal could be 30 minutes of cardio exercise each weekday this quarter. As you can see, these are both specific, you can measure them, they're attainable and realistic, and they're also timely. So the timely part is being within that next quarter. Another thing that's going to help you be really effective in setting these and attaining these quarterly goals is don't set too many. Remember, you want to stay focused. So I'm not going to prescribe how you guys should do this, because I want to make sure that you're making this system work for you. So a couple ideas are, you might have one quarterly goal per yearly goal that you have. So if you have 3 goals for that year, then you would have 3 goals each quarter working towards each one of those yearly goals. Another thing you could do is to devote an entire quarter to one goal. Another thing you can do is devote an entire quarter to one of your yearly goals. So you can decide what works best for you. I always talk about prioritizing the current season that you're in, and this is no different. So when you're looking at your quarter and you're deciding on goals, if you want to be effective, consider the season you're in. Consider busy seasons in your career or in your business. Consider your family's need in that moment, whether that's your own immediate family or your larger family if you have any sort of responsibilities towards them. You want to consider your burnout and your mental health at that point of the time that you're making those goals. Are you feeling overwhelmed? Are you feeling rejuvenated? Your goals are going to be different based on how you're feeling, and you want to incorporate that season that way that you're not continuing to overwhelm yourself. You also want to focus on how is your physical health. So if you're in a time where you need to focus more on taking care of your physical health, of course, that's going to adjust the type of goals that you set for that quarter and also your priorities for that quarter. Another thing that I want you guys to do to make sure that these quarterly goals are effective is to set reminders in your calendar and in your phone to do quarterly planning, or you will forget. Trust me, because it's not something you do every day. Quarterly goals can get lost in the shuffle. So you want to set reminders in your digital calendars as well as reminders in your phone app to sit down and do this. So what I like to do is set a time that I want to do my quarterly planning. I'll look at the calendar and I will designate a time that I'm going to sit down and devote just to setting those next quarter's goals. And then I'll set a reminder 2 weeks before and 1 week before. That way I know that it's coming and I can continue to prepare to make space for that in my schedule. Then when you sit down to do your quarterly goals, after you're finished, you want to, at that session, set your next time in your calendar of when you want to sit down and do them. That way they're always kind of replenishing themselves, and you always have it on the books, that dedicated time for your setting your quarterly goals. And lastly, I want to think about some things you can do when you're sitting down planning your quarterly goals. First, I want you to do a quarterly review of the last quarter before you move on to planning this new quarter. So you're going to do a quarterly review, and you're going to use some planning prompts and questions that I'm going to share with you now in order to do that review. Again, if you guys get the modAmbition planner, which is launching soon, there's a whole system in there to help you with prompts and questions on planning your next quarter as well as reviewing your last quarter. So be sure to sign up for the wait list. First, you want to take inventory of your progress towards your larger goals. So every time you sit down to review what you did last quarter, one of the milestones or way that you can judge your last quarter or review your last quarter is to think about how much closer did I move towards my larger goal in my progress for those quarterly goals. Like how much did I move the needle in where I want to be as far as those larger yearly goals in my previous quarter. Another thing you can think about is where could I have been more flexible in this last quarter? We want to make sure that we were remaining fluid and flowing as we're moving through life. That way we can adjust in real time and evolve and grow as we need to. And one question you can ask yourself when you're thinking about your last quarter, is there any way that I could have been more flexible, that I could have bended more or changed more in the moment in the last quarter? You can also ask yourself, what did I learn this past quarter? What were those life lessons that really helped me or gave me an aha in my evolution as a person, as a business person, as a career person? What were those lessons and challenges that helped me grow? This is going to help you capitalize on your challenges in the past quarter by using them to move closer to your dreams and goals. Another question that you can ask yourself when you're reviewing your last quarter is, what is a mantra that will help me reach my goals this quarter? So once you reviewed your last quarter, you've taken stock on how you could be more flexible, what lessons and challenges you learned. Looking ahead, what's a mantra that's going to help you reach your goals this quarter? This mantra will help you stay motivated in your day-to-day journey. So people like to have like a word of the year. You can also have a mantra for the quarter that's going to help you move forward and stay motivated. And then lastly, I want you to ask yourself, what's your priority this quarter? We also want to make sure that we're thinking about our priorities, and that way we can know if we have a lot of stuff going on, what's the main thing I need to be focusing on? What's my quarter priority? And it's already been decided. And that way you can just come back to that and say, okay, this is how I'm going to streamline. This is how I'm going to focus so I don't continue to be overwhelmed. So those are my tips on how to review your quarter and plan effective quarterly goals. I really hope they help you in planning this upcoming quarter. And I would love to end this episode by offering an intention for you this week. May you take your destiny into your own hands. Be flexible along the way and enjoy the ride.
But you gave it back.